Stories sell, right? Stories sell. And so I was telling about the client I had whose father was supposed to retire in '08, and he had a terrible financial manager, right? He lost 40% of his portfolio in 1 year, 40%. He had to work 8 more years. 8 more years. I said, man, that sucks. I didn't have to sell that guy IUL. He sold himself. He was like, oh, no. I'm getting this because I saw what my dad went through. This is a conversation I have with my clients, that the 401k was designed as a supplement to a pension. But what happened is the 401ks took off and companies said, hey, everybody's doing this 401k thing. We can save money and get rid of the pension. Yeah. So for all the younger people in the room, everyone used to get a pension. You worked at a job, you got a pension, and you got to pay for the rest of your life. Now, companies have pulled away from that and they're relying on the 401k. Well, the 401k is tied to the market. The market has ups and downs. What if you retire during the down?
Yeah.
I say a lot when I talk to clients. As a side note, I want an emotional tie to my clients, not a fiscal tie. I want an emotional connection to my clients, not a financial one. And so now that pensions have kind of taken a backseat to the 401k, what are you going to do to protect yourself in the case of a down market when it's time for you to retire? And so make yourself an asset to your clients by explaining that to them. They're all ears at that point. They are ready to listen, right? Second thing I want to tell you guys is you don't have to do this alone. You have a team of people ready to back you. You do not have to be the expert to write an IUL. You got Gina Hawks, you have the entire BAM team, you have me, you have anybody else on 11 Tobich Hierarchy who's written one. Pick up the phone and call. When I talk to my clients, I say, hey, there are 5 keys to retirement if you're talking to Kevin Lewis. 5 keys to retirement. First key to retirement, you need to be out of debt. We don't want to go into retirement with debt. So if I'm talking to you now and you're 40 years old and you got a bunch of debt, we're going to plan for you to pay that debt off before you retire. Second thing is no kids on the payroll. If you had kids late, sorry, you need to keep working until your kids are out of the house because kids are not predictable when it comes to finances, right? And so most people are going to be on a fixed income once you retire. What you do not want to do is have a kid still on the payroll, still taking care of, but paying out half of your retirement income to that kid. All right. So we're going to wait to retire until you have the kids out of the house. Third thing, speaking of house, is we want your house paid off or a really good plan to pay that house off while you're in retirement. Right. Because your mortgage is either going to be your biggest or your second biggest bill, depending on what we talk about next. But your mortgage is going to be a huge chunk of your retirement income. We don't want that to happen. Pay the house off before you retire or keep working. Keep working to pay it off. Pay it off. Fourth thing is healthcare. And this is where most people don't get it. I talk to people and they're like, yeah, I want to retire at 61. I'm like, that is awesome. Good plan. What are you going to do for healthcare? They're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, now we got to have a 4-year gap because unfortunately in this country, your healthcare is tied to employment. You stop working, you stop having healthcare. So what are you going to do from 61 to 65 if you retire early? All right. And so having that conversation and being an asset to your clients and saying, all right, now I got to think about that. All right. I'm not saying you can't retire at 61, but we got to have a plan to pay for your healthcare in that gap. And then the fifth thing is what I'm here for, to make sure you have enough assets to live through retirement. I don't want you to retire and be at a lower standard of living than what you are right now. I'm not saying you're going to make the same amount, but we want you to maintain your same standard of living. And then I play the question game, right? I just start asking questions about how I want to be able to service the client. Thing I ask a lot of people that they have no idea about. When do you want to retire? Most people never thought about it. When do you want to retire? Let's think about it. Put some brain power into it right now. Not you guys. I'm talking to my clients. But that's a good answer. He said 45. And I am brutally honest when I talk to my clients. I say no, you can't retire at 45. Right? Because that means you got 20 years of paying for your own health care. Your house isn't going to be paid off at 45, and you're going to have kids in the house. So let's be a realistic answer of when you want to retire. Right? And I make them think about it, and I have that exercise with them. Right? The second thing I ask them is how much are you investing currently? Most people I talk to invest between 10 and 20% of their income a month. How much are you doing right now? Right? And a lot of them say, oh, I'm not doing anything. Why? What is your plan for retirement? What do you want to do? What is your outcome? What is your risk level? All of those things, but they should be investing something. If not, say, you know what? I'm glad that's why I'm here talking to you right now. Because you don't have a plan, we need to create a plan. Right. And then the third thing I asked them is how much money do you think you want to spend per year in retirement, assuming that you've met all the qualifications? Right? No kids in the house is paid off. We got your health care covered. You don't have any debt. How much money do you think you want to spend per year in retirement? And for me, the agent, what that's helping me figure out is what I need to get the target to for their IUL payouts in the future. Right. And so I'm backwards planning to say, hey, if they think they need about $45,000 per year in retirement, I say, okay, how long have you been working at your job? So I assume a couple things. I assume they're going to get some sort of Social Security payout, around $12,000 a year. Just a good round number, $1,000 a month, Social Security. All right. So whatever they say, if they say, hey, I want to get, if they say I want to get $40,000 a year in Social Security, in retirement income, I say, all right, well, I only got to figure out 28,000 of it, right? Because they get 12,000 a year from Social Security. So I got to figure out 28,000. I can backwards plan that in the illustration software from all of the carriers to figure out how much their monthly input into the IUL should be. And then I usually run them 3 illustrations, a range. I give them, like, if it's 200, 300, 400 bucks a month, I show them all 3 and say, all right, this is what it looks like. Which one best fits what you want to get in retirement? Right? I try to not make it difficult. I try to not overcomplicate it for the clients. I try to make it simple so that they understand it. And I do have an IUL presentation that Gina Hawks made. And so if anybody wants it, just send me a text. I'll send it to you. But it's basic. It is very basic. And it is geared towards looking at the big picture and tying them all the way down into the IUL. All right. So I should have about 5 minutes left. What are your questions? Yes, sir.
Kevin, we're brand new to this. Do you require a security license?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is an insurance product. So you have to be very careful. And I have to watch my language to not say some things when I'm talking to you all that I can't say. So I can say investment, right? When you're sitting with the clients, you can't say investment because the IUL is not an investment. It's an insurance product.